Welcome back, and joining us on the show now is Jatin Singh, is founder and CEO at Skymet weather.com. Jatin, hi. We usually get you just around monsoon and after that, and this time we didn't even get to do that. You were busy. But the way the weather has been changing, and I'll talk about India, and I did read your report, but the erratic weather reports that are coming across. We were reading a report earlier on how there is no snowfall this time around in key ski destinations. 15 to 25 degrees of temperature is what most of Europe is seeing right now. How concerning is that?
I mean, weather patterns are absolutely changing. You've had today. There was a report by the IMD that we had the warmest December in 122 years. You're seeing a very warm weather in Europe now. That is damaging. Even in the northeast coast United States, Boston, New York have not seen their first snowfall yet, and that has long-term implications. If you remember, the summer was extreme in Europe. Now you're getting a winter that is not as what it should be, because they need the snow to recharge their aquifers. It also exposes people as well as agriculture to different kinds of pests and diseases. So it is concerning. And the fact is that we know that climate change is happening. We are trying to negotiate whatever to bring down the temperatures. But I get the feeling that the train has left the station. Now we have to adapt and mitigate, as opposed to being able to stop it by lowering global temperatures.
Well, yes, there's a World Meteorological Organization report as well, Jatin, which says that past 8 years have been the 8 warmest years, and we really are headed there. And as you said, the train has left the station because 2022 was a year of floods and droughts and extreme heat and all of that you don't want to see. But coming to your report as well, and that's a concern. I mean, it's an indication. It also is a warning right now on how we are looking at 2 major developing scenarios here.
In the sense, so we have said that if there is an evolving El Nino, and Manisha, we've been talking for over a decade. El Nino, if it's evolving, we need to worry about it. I would say right now, because it's early, there is a 50% chance that El Nino will evolve. Now, what does El Nino mean? El Nino means when the waters of the Pacific become warm, precipitation over the subcontinent actually lowers. Now, in an El Nino year, now I've been doing it for 20 years. If you take 130 years of statistics, you'll find that 80% of those years are below normal, 60% of those years are drought, and there is a 0% chance of excess. We are coming out of a triple dip La Nina. We have been very lucky. Since 19, 20, 21, and 22, we've had very good monsoon, anywhere between 97 to 110%. Now, that is also unheard of. And at some point, that chain had to break. So right now, the projections are that there is a sharp increase in the monsoon. Now, these projections definitely change. We are before the spring predictability barrier. But in my experience, as far as the INSO is concerned, the January signal is a signal that we should take seriously. The only years in which El Nino has not meant a bad monsoon in India, I think one of them is 1997, and the other thing is 2019. Okay. And that has to do with the fact that you had a very positive IOD. Now, the IOD projections will become more accurate as we go deeper in the monsoon. Monsoon is exactly 6 months away right now. But if the Indian Ocean remains neutral, and if ENSO keeps on, if the trend of the forecast is that the Pacific waters is going to increase, and we will know that by April, then we need to prepare, because I have never seen this scenario deliver a good monsoon. 2008, this is similar. 2013, this is similar. 9 and 14 were droughts. So we need to prepare for this. These projections do change. I have been wrong before, but we have learned as we have spent time doing this. El Nino is something this country needs to take seriously and start indexing in terms of commodity prices, water availability, and inflation from now on.
So when we talk about La Nina evolving into El Nino, and as you said, it's not going to be a good monsoon period for India, you also have said that these are still early days, and perhaps it would be by March or April that we'll need to stand again and take note of this. A lot of these changes impact India, even if it's not for India, because there's a lot of imported inflation that we end up with, because we export so many of our food articles. For India, you've told us what it means. What does it mean for the other adjoining countries, world at large?
I mean, see, the ENSO is a prediction which will affect everything from East Africa to Southeast Asia. So effectively, if there's going to be a subpar rainfall over this large geography, which probably would be preceded by an intense heat wave, and you would get volatility because you're going to get 70% of the rainfall anyway in the worst case scenario. And one of the things you see is that even in a drought year, you're going to get extreme rainfall events. That is, you're going to get like what UP and Bihar had this year. That you get long extended dry phases and sudden rainfall right in the end, when the averages actually match up, but it really doesn't work for the crops. I would see this kind of volatility becoming much more predominant in this larger region. And in El Nino year, after the monsoon, you tend to see a higher frequency of cyclones in East Asia and the upper reaches of China. That is the normal trend. A lot of it, of course, depends on how the IOD or the Indian Ocean behaves.
I'm just going to repeat myself here, Jatin, that these are still early days, but on a rank of 1 to 10, how worried are you already about this year's monsoon?
I think there is a 50% chance of this monsoon failing, which is a significant chance.
And what's your sense on the kind of heat wave that we're talking about right now? Because yes, India is looking at some kind of winters, but there are heat waves, as you mentioned, in Europe and some parts of US as well. I mean, that doesn't augur well, right, for the crops which are already standing, which need a certain kind of weather, because that is how we plant our crops now.
Yeah, I mean, I hope. El Nino does not. See, winter forecasting is tricky. And in winter, we need to figure out that our mustard and wheat, when it comes to harvest, doesn't see thunderstorms, which has happened in 2011, premature thunderstorms coming in because of the heat. And you do not see a sharp rise in temperatures in March. And that's what happened last year, right? Your wheat, the wheat grain actually becomes smaller.
Yes.
So that is a fear. And there is no way of forecasting that. In the West, the problem is that there really is no winter crop. Winter is for their aquifers to get recharged. Now, if the snowfall is not going to be there, going into their summer crop, maybe they'll have problems. Europe is going to have problems because it had a severe heat wave. Let's see, because also I should tell you, we live in a time of extremes, right? So right now, winter is warm in Europe, but nobody knows 20 days down the line, suddenly the averages will start picking up and there'll be massive snowfall after snowfall into snowfall. Maybe this is a precursor to a late onset of winter. That is also a scenario. So you need to look at it from a three-dimensional perspective. And we tend to take the present and prognosticate it as the absolute future, which is wrong. So the probability of winter coming in is there. You've had in Delhi, living here in North Indian winter has many phases. It can have, December was warm, January is quite cold. Maybe you'll have you have a winter that started late but extends right into April and May. I mean, where summer is not that intense. So you need to see it from various perspectives.
Okay, all right. Take your point. Mr. Singh, Manisha, thank you so much for taking us through that interesting conversation. And Manisha, for us, be it any month, winter and Mumbai, no connection whatsoever.
Yes, I that too.
Okay, all right. On that note, we'll take your leave in this edition of Halftime Report with the news that, yes, markets, they continue to be under pressure. Nifty is down 95 points. There's a wee bit of recovery, but yes, no, actually, they are at the day's low. So we'll keep tracking markets for you. For now, we'll take your leave on this edition. Business Lunch will take all the action ahead.